Hey, what's going on? Guys, my name's Dynasty. Got for y'all today another MK11 video, gonna be jam-packed with a bunch of details to discuss, from combat cast to how custom variations will be used online, to potentially seeing custom moves added as DLC, story mode details, factions not being a thing, and also mocap is confirmed to not be on the roster. A lot of stuff to discuss. So with that said, let's break all this stuff down and let's get into it. So first things first, you guessed it, tomorrow got for you guys another combat cast taking place. At the very least, I know for sure it's dedicated to Noob Saibot. So yes, here is the official tweet announcing it. Says, ready for another combat cast this Friday. You wouldn't want to miss any reveals. But yes, Noob Saibot is confirmed to be showcased during this combat cast, I think alongside 2 other characters. So potentially maybe seeing 3 characters tomorrow. I cannot wait to see who else they have showcased for us. Maybe we'll see Frost as a cyber. That would be pretty cool. And speaking of just combat cast in general, it seems like they're not gonna have a combat cast for every character that's on the roster before the game launches. So yeah, some characters will not be showcased in a combat cast, which is kind of a bummer, but NetherRealm Studios apparently is doing it on purpose. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because Danish Saeed, who currently works at NetherRealm Studios as a senior UI artist, was replying to a few comments on Twitter. Somebody asked him, I know that I am annoying, but can you please just tell me what we see Devora's gameplay before the game's released? I don't understand why she was revealed 2 months ago, and we still only have 1 render. And for example, we already have gameplay for Cetrion. I'm really sad. From there, the response was, I don't decide these things. And I actually don't know what the plan is for Devora, but I do know that some characters we are planning on not showing at all before release on purpose. That's super interesting. From there, somebody also asked them, hi, was wondering if you could tell us what you meant by you guys not planning on showing off every character before launch. Does that imply a gameplay breakdown or just generally a reveal so we'll see them in the game on our own? From there, the response was both, although plans can change. So take that for what you will. I'm thinking that maybe NetherRealm Studios doesn't want to show us, like, I don't know, maybe if it really is Cyber Frost, maybe she becomes cyberized like in the middle of the story mode. So yeah, maybe that's why they don't want to ruin it for us. Maybe they want to keep something secret, I'm guessing. So that's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe for secret characters, if there really is secret characters, they don't want to show us like a secret character because, well, the character's a secret, you get me? So that's what I took from this. But yeah, every character apparently is not going to be showcased before the game launches in a combat cast. Kind of a bummer, but I can understand. And they're doing it on purpose. It's probably for a good reason. Now moving on to the next topic of the day. This one has gotten so many people upset. Like, legit, Twitter is on fire because of this. So it turns out that Game Informer confirmed that NetherRealm Studios is going to have custom variations, but only in player matches. So essentially what we saw back in Injustice 2, the gear system, where you can only use gear and gear stats in player matches, and ranked had like no stats whatsoever. That's happening in MK11, and that was, like I mentioned, confirmed by Game Informer. It says here, how Mortal Kombat 11's custom variations will work in competitive play. From there it says, in local versus in casual online matches, players can use whatever custom version of a character they've created, including augments that provide bonuses like increased damage for certain moves, increased experience for performing fatalities, and more. While being able to create certain builds of characters means matches with more variety to them than the average fighting game, not knowing what moves your opponent has going into a match can be an issue, since certain matches could end up being more lopsided than usual. This much variety can also make it difficult for players to internalize all the possible matchups. The next paragraph reads, NetherRealm's answer to this problem is to create a set of pre-built variations for ranked in-tournament play, similar to MKX's. The developer has confirmed each character will have at least 2 preset variations using the same 3-slot system as custom variations, though the number of variations per character could differ. The goal is to use as many of a character's equipable moves across the variations as possible, so each one might see tournament play. But the priority will be to make these variations give every character a strong toolset. Now the quote here is from somebody who currently works in NetherRealm Studios. They said, they're definitely well thought out. It's not like we just went, oh, cool, these 3 things look cool, slap those in, says NetherRealm lead designer John Edwards. They are thought out and are planned to create the best variety of gameplay within the system that we have. So yes, I understand. You might be pissed off. I get it. Now moving on to the next paragraph, we're almost done here. It says, NetherRealm then plans to balance custom abilities when necessary with these specific variations in mind, and could also change the variations themselves. Depending on feedback from the community, they can swap moves in and out and make certain moves take up 2 slots instead of 1 and more. That way, high-level players have some idea of what they're getting themselves into when they see the name of variation when they're playing ranked or in tournaments. Now lastly, it says, however, you'll still be able to take your custom characters look online, and you will be able to use augments that don't affect gameplay, giving hardcore players a reason to edit characters to give them that extra flair. So yeah, it's Injustice 2.0, but with 3 different variations, and people are so mad, and I understand why. I mean, the main change, or selling point, gimmick if you will, for MK11 was the fact that you could create your own custom variations, being able to use what special moves you wanted, etc. And I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to, I guess, that being highlighted even more, including ranked, but from the get-go, I just figured they weren't going to do this, but a lot of people, I guess, assumed they were going to let you create your own and play online, and I don't blame you for being upset, because that just gives you more variety, more to look forward to, more customization, more personalization, if you will. Now, will that change? Maybe. I mean, they changed the whole, you know, having to do a bunch of extra strings versus just pressing the right bumper to amplify a special move. They've changed something drastic like that. Maybe if there's enough feedback, they'll change this. I know legit, like, majority of pro players are pretty bummed out about this, based on what I've seen just on my timeline on Twitter. So a lot of people are pissed off. Me, I understand why NetherRealm did it. I think it'd be like a nightmare to balance all these abilities, and I think at least like this, it's like an equal playing field. So I kind of see exactly where NetherRealm Studios is coming from. At least like this, there's some guidelines, and it just seems like you know what to expect when playing ranked matches. You know, okay, this Scorpion variation has to use these special moves. If it's just up in the air and, you know, you're going at somebody's own custom build, you just never know what to expect. And not to say that's wrong. I mean, I would have loved to have seen that. It just would require a lot more playing time to be familiar with, like, legit every ability possible. And like I mentioned, from like a balancing standpoint, this just seems to make the most sense. But I understand a lot of you guys are bummed out because legit, the main selling point was custom variations, and you can't even use your own custom variations in ranked in tournament play. So yeah, I'm just bummed because the amount of creativity the pro players probably have for this, man. Like, I would love to have seen just like a random, you know, special movie pulled out of thin air that nobody saw coming, and like, oh wow, you know, so-and-so had this equipped we didn't know. That would have been so sick to see. So it's a bummer that that's going to be taken out of that, and it's going to be just listed at 3 variations, but I'm not surprised. They did it for MKX, and they're doing it again for MK11. It's a bummer, but hey, maybe they'll change it because, like I mentioned, they changed the whole game mechanic. If we push for this, they definitely could consider making sure that there was at least a ranked section online where you could use custom variations. But regardless, though, if you don't even play ranked or you don't even compete in tournaments, don't worry, because you guessed it's player matches. You can do whatever you want. So player matches are safe. You can customize to your heart contents. Like, just do whatever you gotta do. But ranked matches, they're at least hitting a few guidelines. So yeah, had to talk about this because that has been the talk of the town the last 24 hours. Now moving on to the next topic of the day. Speaking of like custom stuff, how about custom moves? It's confirmed by Game Informer. NetherRealm is open to adding more custom moves to MK11 as DLC. It says here, Edwards says NetherRealm is listening to player feedback, and if Mortal Kombat 11 does well enough to maintain a steady community, it's willing to look into adding whatever that community gravitates towards. You know, custom variations in ranked. As long as the game is doing well and people are playing, we want to support it, he says. And extra moves do sound like one of the things that would naturally, maybe, kind of flow out of that as we add DLC characters and as we patch and things like that. So yeah, potentially seeing more moves being added in the future, I'm all up for that. More content, more abilities. Hey, let's do it, NetherRealm. And hey, it says there, they're listening to player feedback, so guys, let them know you want to see some custom variations in ranked. And moving on to the last topic of the day. So Ed Boon did this amazing interview with Game Informer, and it was like a rapid fire interview. I think he answered like over 150 questions or something, just like off the top of his head. It was so great. I highly recommend you watch it because legit, this is one of the best interviews that Game Informer has ever done. I have a link down below, and I got some notes from that in regards to MK11. But yes, go watch the interview down below. So it turns out that no Quicktime events are in MK11, and apparently it's because they didn't have time, according to the answer Boone said. Also, alternate endings are going to be a thing that was confirmed, I think, a couple months ago. So yeah, alternate endings will be a thing. All cutscenes are around 2.5 hours long. If you were to look up like MK11 movie, it'd probably be around 2.5 hours. So kind of like MKX from a, I guess you can say, story mode length perspective. So at least 2.5 hours of like cutscenes, I'm assuming. Says there, Kronika was initially called Kroniko, and she was a male character that got swapped out not too long ago during the production. So yeah, we almost didn't have Kronika, we had Kroniko. crazy because, you know, they made it seem like it was like a last-minute decision, too, before production started. So, yeah, almost had Kronika and not Kronika. Kronika? Kronika. Okay. Also, Fatal Blows run at 30 FPS, not 60. I think Boone mentions it's because they wanted to just focus on, like, the blood and other things outside of the actual gameplay around it. So, apparently that's the reason behind 30 FPS, not 60 during the Fatal Blow cutscenes. Also, at the Game Awards, we saw that NetherRealm announced MK11 right before the best sports and racing game got announced. Ed Boon mentioned they were going to do it for, like, the best family game or something, but it was in poor taste. I'm not sure if he was kidding or not, but that was hilarious. That made me laugh my ass off. Also, no faction wars or clans are coming back, so yeah, no faction wars. Mocap has a 0% chance of being in MK11. No crossplay at launch, but they're not against the idea, so maybe potentially down the road, if, you know, things go well, hopefully, that'd be amazing. Lastly, he mentioned how the Nintendo Switch version of MK11 is looking great, and it's running at a full 60 FPS, so again, something that we just talked about not too long ago. But guys, that's all I got for y'all today. Jam-packed with a bunch of MK11 news. I know a lot of you guys are just probably excited for tomorrow's Combat Cast, Noob Sideblock potentially, 2 other characters being showcased, and the whole custom variations on ranked matches and stuff. That's a great debate because I understand both sides. I'm very curious in the comment section, what's your stance on that? You know, being able to only use custom variations that you create, you know, in player matches. Let me know, of course, if you guys did like the video. Take one second, drop a like on it, subscribe for some more MK11 content next time. Been your host from Dynasty, guys. Please take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Look, let's break it down. It all started in 92, dressed in all blue with some of the best fighting moves. I was also born in 92. Oh shit, Dynasty, pay attention to where I go with this. I didn't die in the events of the first game. That's the only difference. Here to hang like a rope chain. John Tobias, Ed Boon, y'all fucking amazing. Y'all not human when it comes